What is the standard to say that this was a hate crime?
And I think my colleagues will say the same thing. Dial down the rhetoric. Every politician of every stripe seems to want to come in a situation like this and really put fuel on the fire.
That's what can cause the wildfire in the eyes of Fox News? The wildfire of the governor of New York identifying the actual problem? Calling this a white supremacist attack so, I don't know, maybe we can stop racist monsters like this in the future? That's the wildfire, not the politicians and Fox News anchors literally setting the wildfire that eventually leads to these murders. Fox News has a history of repeatedly pushing the racist, anti-Semitic, baseless great replacement theory, which inspires these evil shooters, including in Buffalo over the weekend.
I'm not against the immigrants. I just am for Americans, and nobody cares about them. It's like, shut up, you're dying, we're going to replace you.
Democrats who want to replace you, the American voters, with newly amnestied citizens.
They are attempting to replace us with citizens that they think, that are future citizens, that they think would be more amenable to voting for them.
The only great replacement I want to hear about is what great people they replace their national embarrassment anchors with. Who are they protecting with this opinion? The murderers? They're protecting the murderer and the people on their own network who stoke this insane theory and poison the minds of our youth. And I can say our youth because sadly, I'm sort of old now. All that the governor of New York said was that the 18-year-old shooter drove 200 miles to intentionally carry out this attack in a zip code with a high concentration of black people, and that it was a white supremacist attack, which she only based on the mountains of evidence. She made this far-fetched leap because in his 180-page manifesto, he described himself as a white supremacist. But don't jump to conclusions. He did also say he was inspired by the racially motivated mass shootings in Charleston and Christchurch, but don't make any assumptions. Oh, he also had the N-word etched on his gun and kept shouting it at black people as he shot them. Do you need a degree in criminal psychology to figure this one out? Do you need to be Elliot Stabler to put two and two together here?
And that's where you have the nutcases out there like this guy who see this going on. You see somebody sort of stirring the pot, trying to demagogue the issue rather than just let the law enforcement professionals take care of it. And I get so tired of that. I think my colleagues do too. You know, let the politicians step back and have the law enforcement professionals take care of this.
Look at this case for 2 seconds and you realize it's a hate crime. Research is dun dun. But what bothers Fox News about this hate crime is not the hate crime itself, but whether leaders should be calling it a hate crime. These evil cartoon characters would be laughable if they weren't causing so much harm. Just let the law enforcement professionals take care of it. Of course they want that, because that makes it seem like this guy was just a lone wolf, and punishing this one guy solves the problem. Therefore, conveniently letting themselves off the hook, their network off the hook. They're literally saying, do not try to stop the rise of white supremacy, even in the face of white nationalist terrorist attacks. Fox News says, whoa, let's not put all white supremacists into the same bucket. Some white supremacists are very fine people, and they're allowed to stay on television? These aren't canceling statements? I guarantee they finished this segment in studio and all the producers there were all, great job, fellas, great segment. No one probably said, did you just downplay a white supremacist attack and then blame the governor for calling it that? You should be ashamed of yourself. No, it's great stuff, dudes. Want to know another story about Hunter Biden's laptop?
I wanted to create an interactive tool that spotlights what's being done in the shadows. And so you've got our website pulled up right here. What this is a Missouri woke heat map. So all of these pinpoints that you see on the map are occurrences in which one of the three have occurred. Either critical race theory was pushed, woke extremism was pushed, or a crazy action was taken by a crazy leftist. Mm-hmm. And so what it will do is once you click on that source, it'll redirect you to the problem at hand.
Now, this is just launching. This is the first kind of public appearance of this technology. And I love it because it is, people see this, their child brings home something from school and they just think, well, that's odd. But what do I do? I should go to the school board or something. That's not till next month or, all these things.
Just a week after 19 children and a teacher were murdered by a gunman at a public school in Texas, a Missouri-based hate group is putting together a list of schools who, in their opinion, deserve to be targeted for their woke actions. This disturbing list, made by a group called Liberty Alliance, is literally making it easy for far-right lunatics to find out just where cultural activities they disagree with are happening. And make no mistake, this will only end in one way: violence towards these schools. The timing is appalling for the release of this map. As I said, it comes a week after violence erupted on a public school campus, and it's hard not to think that this list is in direct relation to that. Schools in America are now beacons of violence, and this list clearly adds fuel to that fire.
When we've gotten rid of excellence, I think our schools are going down the tubes. Woke culture used to be about challenging the system, and that was okay, maybe 20 years ago. But today it has become the new system. It's infecting our schools, it's infecting our culture, and in my opinion, what we're seeing in a lot of these schools is actually downright illegal. So I'm glad some parents are having this fight to begin to stand up. It's going to take more who are willing to stand their ground.
As this Twitter user mentioned, these people have literally created a map intended for school shooters to target children. There is no other way to read this. A statement on the conservative group's website says that the Liberty Alliance is, quote, committed to fighting back against the woke agenda permeating all across Missouri. It goes on. The first step in fighting back is uncovering their crazy ideas. From critical race theory to grooming toddlers with sexually explicit books, that is why we have officially launched the Woke Heat Map, an interactive tool designed to expose the insane actions of the radical left. This map will alert Missourians of craziness happening in their own communities.
Creating a map like this that they call interactive, it's not actually an interactive map, it's just a map. The word interactive has a definition. In fact, you could probably learn it if you went to a school rather than just demonizing them.
As John pointed out, the map is not in fact interactive, it's just a map with some locations marked on it. Liberty Alliance is registered as a social welfare organization rather than a political action committee. That classification allows it to dodge campaign finance filing requirements, and it's been pointed out on Twitter that there are some deeply disturbing connections between Liberty Alliance and far-right political action groups and politicians. What's more ironic is perhaps the name of the group, Liberty Alliance. What liberties are you protecting by amassing a list, a registry of locations you deem to be unsafe? That is in fact the exact opposite of defending civil liberties. They obviously don't know what liberty or interactive means, for that matter. This shows that the group not only has heinous views, but also a really tenuous grasp of the English language. Maybe that's why they're so mad at schools.